Welcome to another episode of the Dynasty Pylon. My name is Martin. I'm here with my producer and good friend Tank. And for the first time ever, Casey Tucker from the Tater Sports Talk podcast. I probably didn't say that correctly, but
That was
I know
perfect.
you're fairly new to the game, so it's all good, man. But I did listen to a couple of your episodes about the MLB draft and all that, so I'm glad you're here. I know we've been talking for a couple of weeks trying to get you on and just talk about some sports, man. So how are you making your transition moving to Seattle? I know that's why we haven't been able to get you on, but
Yeah, dude, it's been crazy. Just trying to get situated out here, getting a job locked down and into the sports industry. So yeah, life's been good. It's been busy, adventuring, doing some hiking and stuff. So it's beautiful out here, at least for right now. Sun is shining. I'm sure the rain will start soon too, but it's been a blast for the last couple weeks.
that's awesome. I mean, now is it raining like you mentioned? Like, is it raining like constantly? I know.
It actually hasn't yet at all.
Really?
There's been like one
Really?
day of like sprinkling, yeah.
Oh, man.
So I'm living in paradise, I feel like, but in about a month, I think we're gonna have like 4 straight months of gloomy, rainy days. So yeah, I'll be in for it, but at least for now, it's enjoyable.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I know you're trying to help us out while we help out you with your Tater Talk Sports Talk, and we are talking about running backs and linebackers, and basically who you're going to gun for on your draft, and running backs by committee. We're going to nail that, and also a little trade secret that I kind of use with running backs and linebackers of stacking, kind of similar to quarterbacks and receivers, how they stack. But there's kind of a secret that you could do with your running backs and your linebackers. However, I know recently we've had a few recent news, and we'll jump into that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll jump into the lead block news. Basically we have Travis Etienne. Unfortunately for dynasty owners, sounds like he's done for the season, man. So that kind of sucks. However, if you have James Robinson, kudos to you, and you didn't trade him off, and you still have him. Awesome. How do you guys think about having that like, if you had James Robinson, how do you guys think about that within losing Travis Etienne, especially with Trevor Lawrence being there? Like, how's that changed the Jaguars in your guys' opinion?
You want to go first, Casey?
Sure, it's going to change the dynamic a lot. I feel like I think Travis Etienne having a first-round draft pick that changes the dynamic of that offense and how it was going to be run a little bit. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I think, is going to have a pretty solid year. I think it's going to be similar to Justin Herbert like we saw last year. So I think they're still going to be able to rebound and find success. But, I mean, maybe it's a little more pass-heavy than run-heavy now, working in that offense. And, yeah, that's a tough blow, especially for fantasy owners who already took ETN. But I still think the Jags will be okay. And, yeah, there's still a lot of upside there on the backup role and still trying to get in some points there.
Right. And then they still got a Zigbo there too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know some of the other guys were talking about it, but it's like some of those guys who do early drafting, like as soon as preseason starts. This is why you wait until I usually wait until the start of like the weekend before the first game, because stuff like this happens, and it sucks. Like, I mean, obviously it sucks for the player, but like as a fantasy kind of player, it like really sucks, because it's like now you just have, do you drop him or do you put him on IR? Because like you said, I think he's gone for like the entire season, right?
Done the season,
yeah.
So that's what kind of sucks about having like dynasty though. But it's also funny because you can also make fun of those who drafted him in the first round. I mean, that's what I love about dynasty. We're already clowning on the guy. I mean, luckily he had other running backs to lean on, but I think he was kind of relying on having that first year breakout and see if he does anything for his team. But that's the difference between redraft leagues and dynasty leagues. Dynasty, you typically go a little bit sooner before preseason, but then redraft leagues, usually the weekend or 2 weekends before the season starts. And then, for instance, you have that advantage. But I just thought it was funny when that news broke out. Everyone just started clowning on him, and it was just but hey, it is what it is. So, and another recent news was Sony Michel is no longer part of the Patriots. He actually got traded today now to the LA Rams. So could that potentially be a new running back by committee? As since we are talking about running back by committees today, he went from one to potentially a second. Do you think the Rams with Xavier Jones, Henderson, and then Sony Michel being potentially, I mean, Jake Funk is also there, which we haven't really seen much of. But do you think that could be another committee there? I mean, for sure next season when Cam Akers comes back. But I think, But I mean, for now, this season.
Yeah, Sony Michel going there is, I think, a really big help for the Rams. I like him. I just think the New England just have too many running backs that they don't know what to do with, and that was kind of like the issue they had with Sony the past, at least last year for sure. Like I had him, and then there's a day he'll do well, and a day he'll just kind of get a few touchdowns. I think over there though, I think they can really share the ball a lot better than in New England.
Right. Well, I mean,
I think this is gonna be better.
I think it's just Bill Belichick being a good coach. I mean, not for fantasy purposes, but he's a good coach. He rotates his running backs, So I think we mentioned this on the Morning Spike, as how he just rotates his running backs, and they less injuries, if you ask me. I mean, with JJ Taylor, Sony Michel being there, and Ramondre Stevenson, and then Damian Harris, and now with him gone, it makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a lot of guys. So I don't know. I mean, we're being in NFC West now that are you, Casey? You're not a Seattle Seahawks fan, are you?
No. So this is gonna sound super strange, but I'm actually Eagles fan.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah. So complete other side of the country. I grew up in Idaho, which is closest to Seattle, so you'd think I would be. But no, I just never a Seahawks fan. I mean, maybe I'll support them a little bit now being here. I had DK on my team last year too, so that was nice. But yeah, now I'm right in the mix of the NFC West, and I think that division's going to be very crazy this year. Four teams that can make the playoffs.
Yeah,
especially with the Rams adding Michelle now. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Definitely. I expect it I would say Rams would probably be number one, and then maybe the Niners and Seattle, and then Cardinals last, unfortunately. But I mean, we never know. I mean, Cardinals have done a lot of defensive moves, so we don't know. They've always been known for the defensive team. So if they can keep it up, hopefully they can work a little bit on offense. Arizona can pull something through. But I agree with you. That division is going to be insanely. That is one division I'm definitely going to be paying attention to as well. So, but other than that, though, those two moves, well, one loss for the season, and then the trade. I think it was a couple of picks. I didn't really get to see. I know it was 2 picks, but I didn't get to see exactly which ones. But it doesn't surprise me that the Rams would trade draft picks. It wouldn't even surprise me it's a first. It seems like they never have a first round draft pick, ever. So, we'll see. I didn't get to, did you guys catch any of the details on which 2 draft picks they used?
No.
I didn't see it either.
I think it was a first round pick.
It wouldn't surprise me though. I mean, that's so that they seem to be.
Oh no. Okay, it was 2022, so it's not too much in the future, but it was a 5th and a 6th round.
Right, that's not bad actually.
No, not bad.
That's not too bad, yeah.
No, wasn't he a former first rounder?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the first round draft pick.
Yeah.
So he's a first rounder, but yeah, they gave up a 5th and a 6th. So
hey, that's actually quite a steal.
Yeah, not bad.
Good for them. And how do you think who's going to be the bruiser there? I still think Henderson's going to be the bruiser, even though he's kind of a smaller guy. But I think they use him as the bruiser, probably goal line. Maybe Sony Michel between the pylons going up and down the field. I don't know. Who do you think is going to be, or are they going to use one main back? What do you guys think on that?
I mean, I think Henderson, it's still Henderson's show, I think. But I think now with Michel in, we'll probably see him a lot more. I don't know. I'm trying to remember him last year. It was just I don't remember seeing him that much enough where I'm like, was he like a guy that just pounded it in, or he always seemed like a guy that was kind of like bounce around a lot, like find a hole rather than just bulldoze through. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys remember.
I
Right.
think he was more of like the James White type. Like he was like the
Yeah.
pass capture guy.
Yeah.
And then they would run with not JJ Taylor, but the other guy. Starts with a B. I can't remember. He was a bigger bruiser guy that they used.
Mm.
They just ran it up the middle with I can't think of his name. It'll come to me later. It starts with a B, I think, or J. I don't know. There's so many running backs there in New England. I can't even think of them all. So, but yeah. So we're talking about committees today. So the first ones that kind of come to my mind is Houston, San Francisco, obviously New England, and then we could potentially see kind of like a duo one with the Baltimore Ravens with Dobbins and Gus. But I mean, any ones that I can't really think of right now. Is there any others that you guys can think of?
Cleveland? Did you say Cleveland?
No.
You
But
don't
I
think
feel
so?
like Cleveland's always kind of been like a 1-2 punch with the same running backs.
Yeah.
I don't really think that it could be considered one. But in my opinion, I've always seen it was always Chubb and Hunt. And regardless of one of them goes down, I don't think it was anybody else. So I know that if I want to start with one of these committees, like one of these running back committees, I know the one for a fact that I kind of want to stay away from, definitely, and I don't ever want to think I want to get draft one at all, is Houston. With Mark
I knew you were
Ingram.
gonna say that.
Look. Mark
I don't
Ingram,
blame you, dude.
Mark Ingram seems like they're using him more, but I still think that Phillip Lindsey throughout the season will take over, and then they have the corpse of David Johnson, who's just there. Look, man, your career's done, man. You had a fantastic time in Arizona. You had a decent year in Houston, but I don't see any production coming from David Johnson anymore. But I don't. I'm really scared of any Houston guys, any of them. I don't even want to draft a receiver. Like maybe I'll draft IDP like Zach Cunningham, like a linebacker, because I know they're going to be on defense a lot. But other than that, what do you guys think on those three running backs? Like, who do you think it's going to be?
Personally, I think it's going to be Lindsey. And yeah, David Johnson, I feel like at this point just kind of washed up. I wish him the best, and I hope he has a good year, but I don't see much happening out of that. Maybe they give him a couple punches down at the goal line, but I don't really see him breaking out for much at all. But yeah, I like Phillip Lindsey. I'm drafting here in like a week, so I'm really going to try and get Lindsey as late as possible, and I'd still feel good about that, having him on my roster. But it's definitely an interesting situation there with Watson as well and everything going down. So I still like the running backs there. Not in love with them, but I think Lindsey's going to be the guy.
Like as a late round pick, maybe.
Yeah.
Last pick.
Yeah. Like super late. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I don't see many people going for him, but yeah, I'm definitely going to try and snag him so he's not on the waiver wire at least.
Yeah. I don't even think I'm going to go for him at all, but I don't know.
You leaving him off?
Yeah. I'll let someone else deal with it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, but if we see Lindsey do anything, it might be not for week 3, maybe. Like if he actually has a good week, it'll be by then. Because the first game, they already said Mark Ingram is starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think him having a connection with David Culley, whatever his name was, from Baltimore, I think like you kind of like work with somebody you already know how they are, work a little bit better with them, So
right, that chemistry's already there, kind of thing.
Yeah, they're exactly what I was saying, chemistry. But yeah, so so
yeah, you got a friend on the show.
He's always jumping on. But Phillip Lindsey, I think he still has something to prove. I don't know if he has enough gas in the tank to prove it, but we'll see.
If anything, he's the only one with gas left. He's the youngest guy there.
Yeah, which is saying a lot.
Which is crazy.
But he has like 57-year-old knees at this point.
Yeah.
All the injuries and everything he's been through.
I like the risk, but it's definitely a gamble.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Me personally, I would like to see someone else draft him, and good for them. If you and I go in a draft and you draft him at your late round and you get him, go ahead. Like honestly, I'll see how that works out for you. But if it pops off, then good for you, man. You proved the whole league wrong. But for me, I don't think I would feel comfortable with him even in my lineup at all. So, but hey, moving on. 49ers.
Oh yeah.
Trey Sermon, I think, will be the guy eventually. As of now, we have Raheem Mostert being the main guy. He's always been the main guy. But the only issue is he gonna play more than 5 weeks straight without him going down? And then you got JaMycal Hasty there. Then you got who else is there? McKissick is gone, right? Or no, that's J.D. McKissick's on Washington. McKinnon is with the Chiefs. But still, I mean, I still think that the 49ers, they always bring in, they always bust out some other random. I know they have another rookie behind Sermon. And I can't remember.
Isn't it Jeff Wilson? Is that? No.
No. He was already.
He's got a few years.
You said Hasty, right?
I said JaMycal. Yeah, I said JaMycal Hasty. Jeff Wilson. And then you got Mostert and Trey Sermon. There is another one who they drafted 7th round. We probably don't know anything about it because probably never sniffed the field. But yeah, I for dynasty purposes, I would definitely draft Trey Sermon over all of them. Definitely over Mostert. I mean, I've noticed that they've been going pretty close to each other. I mean, Mostert is going to be the guy for sure, but then everyone has in the back of their mind that he's going to get injured. So, I mean, and then Trey Lance, if he ends up starting, we could potentially be another headache quarterback for that owner because, every J.K. Dobbins owner hates Lamar Jackson. Every Zach Moss, Devin Singletary hates Josh Allen if they're the owner then. But unless they have him on their team, of course. But those are the type of guys that are going to steal touchdowns from them. And once Justin Fields goes in, all the Montgomery owners are going to be pissed off at Justin Fields. But these are the running QBs that take it from them. And I just feel like if you are going to have a down back, the main guy, I honestly think that Trey Sermon's going to be it. But if you're doing redraft, which one would you take? Sermon or Mostert?
Probably Mostert. Just because this year is probably, I don't say his final year, but it's gonna be his last.
Knowing the risk that he could get injured, potentially.
I think you can get at least half of the season. Well, I won't say at least, probably around there. You'll probably at least get 4 or 5 games. But I think you could maybe get a few more in there. But
because he was bouncing back and forth off IR all last season.
Yeah. That's why I might hopefully, but I think he's gonna be a little bit healthier this year. But I don't know, we'll see. But I mean, dynasty wise, I would Trey Sermon in a heartbeat. Because that's the dude that's gonna be relevant in years from now. Next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, I think Trey Sermon's gonna be the guy.
Right. At least the 4 years for sure that you get from a running back shelf. That's at least a guaranteed 4 years. Roughly. Yeah. I mean, other than that, but we'll see. Yeah. I agree with you though.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Casey? Mostert or Sermon?
It's a toss up, and my answer comes with a little bias as I had Mostert last year. I took the gamble on him and said, hey, he's going to be healthy. He's going to give me points. Started out great, and it went downhill faster. So personally, I would take Sermon. I'm not going to be in my league. I'm doing I'm not in a dynasty league, so it's going to be a redraft, and I'm not jumping to get either of them this year. at least trying to get Mostert too high. But if I can grab Sermon, I'd be happy with that, and good running with him for most of the year. Because yeah, I mean Mostert, I don't know if he's going to get injured in week 1, week 6. You feel like it's inevitable that it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, which sucks to say, but it just feels like the nature with that guy, and I can't take any more risks with that.
There's some running backs I think that all the time. I just avoid them completely. Delvin Cook being one of them. You know, he's obviously Saquon.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say is CMC on that list now because I think they should have just left him benched all season. They should not have brought him back last season. I don't know if anything's gonna carry over to this upcoming season. I don't know.
It wasn't the same injury for him though. It was a shoulder injury eventually when he came back, wasn't it?
I think so.
So I think that it wasn't the same injury, but those I don't know. Saquon, Dalvin Cook actually stayed healthy for the majority of all last season. I think it was like one game where he just kind of went out early. That was about it. But he had that reputation of always getting hurt. And then you have Seattle, Carson, who's also in the same boat as him. So he's another guy. It's like I don't know if I can get him, but I would get him as an RB3 maybe, but not RB1 or 2. I can't. They're unreliable. So, but yeah, I would definitely take Sermon over that. And I don't know. I just these committees, man. But in a later rounds, if you do find yourself, if you have your RB1, RB2. I would probably take a gamble on one of them, except for Houston guys. I just can't stand them right now. Those are the ones guys I'll probably stay away from the whole time. But I think I'll take a chance at one of them. And an upcoming one, which surprising, was the Jets. We all presumed that Michael Carter was going to be the main lead back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I guess he's the RB3. I don't know if you heard about that. They're not even. I don't know what's going on, but I guess they're not having him as Tevin Coleman's the main guy now right now.
Yeah, and then Ty Johnson is second. So on ESPN they have the updated depth chart. So he's RB3, which is
he the one right now, or is he the 2 on ESPN?
Coleman's 1.
Coleman's 1, and then Johnson, then Carter.
Which is another guy who goes down. Coleman can't stay healthy either. So, I mean, these are the guys that you probably want to look at, all these RB2s, RB3s. I think I'll still take Michael Carter late in the round, maybe. I think I'll still take him in a redraft league. I might consider him as my last pick, maybe, if I have a set running back core. But I don't know. So
I think depending on what league you're in, if there's always some people that just don't follow what the news, and they always kind of pick up by names and stuff like that. So there might be a chance that Carter is on waivers, and that's you can finagle your team around and pick him off waivers off that first week, because I think he's going to be somebody who's going to step in somewhere in that second half of the season. I think, because like you were saying, Coleman's going to get hurt. Ty Johnson, I don't think is going to be that good. And then as soon as Michael Carter gets that ball, I mean, it's going to be game over. He's just going to, I think, take the lead.
He's going to be forced to, though. I mean, who else are going to have? Are they going to go sign Todd Gurley? No. Come on. Get out of here.
Wait, who's the old man? Oh, my God. The one running back that's been in the league forever.
The Frank Gore?
Frank Gore, yeah.
Frank Gore. Come back, man. We need you. You don't get hurt. I mean, you're not as good and fast anymore.
He never gets hurt.
At least you make it in the end zone, yeah. Another guy who is James Conner. He's another fragile guy, and apparently he's the one over in Arizona. So I don't know, but that's another guy I probably will stay away from too. I'd rather take Chase Edmonds over him. So
I agree.
Yeah, but so we're talking about committees, and having these committees, sometimes, as an IDP league, I noticed that you find yourself with these running backs in divisions, And for instance, I was talking about before the show, I was mentioning how if you had Antonio Gibson with any Dallas linebackers or something like Mika Parsons or something, it's just real quick. I know I'm mentioning the stacking part. I know how we all like doing stacking with quarterbacks and receivers. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at any linebackers, or can you name any top of linebackers like that you guys before the show, or kind of. Because if not,
I
I
did
can
a little
do.
research. I
Okay.
got a little bit, but
I know IDP is
Yeah.
kind of new to you, so it's okay. But I know a lot of people like the receivers and the QB or the QBs, or maybe they stack it with their tight end or something, and you get that double points. One train secret that I kind of typically use, you match up the same division guys, the running backs, with the 3 down back linebackers, the 3 down back running backs. For instance, let's take Henry and Leonard. They're in the same division, Colts versus Tennessee. They're going to go Henry, and Darius Leonard's going to be there. So, I mean, they're going to run heavy. Darius Leonard's going to be there. Depending on your settings, and I know like some settings are like a 2 points per tackle, or a tackle per point, or even the assist tackles. I mean, if you have a DL matched up with your linebacker, your DL typically opens it up, and then the linebacker gets through and gets the tackle, or you get the half tackle, which is the assist tackle. I just always thought it was really cool having different guys in the same division. For instance, I know I matched up with Calvin Ridley with Jeremy Chin. I know at least for sure that they're going to have a good battle at least twice. They're both elite guys, but that's a receiver DB. I'll probably mention that next week. But I know, like I'm just top linebackers that we have seen in the preseason. I know Mika Parsons is everywhere. I don't know if you guys caught any Dallas games, but in the first quarter, like as a rookie, as a number 1 draft pick for Dallas Cowboys, he is doing phenomenal. So I wish Mark was here. I know he loves like his IDP. He's just on it as well as I do, but I know he would have voiced his opinion on it too, because he has Jamin Davis from Washington. So, but yeah, I mean, that's something that I kind of look at. I know I can't get too much into it because you guys aren't really into IDP. I know Tank does a little bit of it, but Casey, like, what do you think IDP is? Like, like your perspective of it. Would you ever consider doing it, or is it kind of something that's kind of scary, or what is your thoughts on IDP?
I would say a little bit of everything. I would definitely consider doing it, but I think it takes some research. I'm familiar with the top guys, latest draft picks, a lot of the premier defenders out there, but to be able to draft and have a team that can actually compete on both ends of the ball in fantasy, I think is very exciting and adds a unique new part to the game. But yeah, I think for anyone getting in it, it's going to take some research and a full year to really get the hang of it and what it looks like, how to be successful with it, strategy behind it. Because, we go offense, and then you throw that part into it. I think it's very exciting. But yeah, give me a year, then I'll come at you. We'll compete next year.
I remember my very first year. It was no offense. It was strictly IDP. You had your defensive linemen, your linebackers, your DBs, your
gotcha,
corners and safeties, and your flex. So which is really kind of interesting. I'm telling you, I got creamed. Yeah, I was like, I had no part of dealing with these guys. They were just so good. Like, they've obviously been playing for years. I played the one season to fill in for the one season until the guy came back from deployment, whatever. But I took over, and then so yeah, it was fun. And then I kind of created a league which was both offense and defense. In our leagues, we have the defensive lineman, linebacker, and DB. You can put safety or corner there, and the flex, which is pretty interesting. So it kind of changes it up. You could put like your own mini 3-4, 4-3, kind of your own nickel package or whatever. Kind of it changes it up. Of course, sack per yards. Sacks are basically the touchdown versions of your offensive guys. They're worth like 6 points. So sacks don't happen often. I mean, some guys pop off like 2 or 3 of them. But I mean, I guess sometimes your running backs do pop off 2 or 3 touchdowns. So it's kind of the equivalent to what these guys do. So yeah, it was fairly new. I know you like I've introduced that to you, but Tank actually got into what 1 or 2 drafts with me on mock drafts.
I think just one so far. Yeah, it's one with IDP, and which was it was fun. That was very, very interesting.
How do you do?
It's like now, even knowing more now, I think I would have drafted differently then. Because it's like because you're just thinking about the player, which is one thing, but also it's like what on the offense. I tend to look at schedules too, like who has an easier schedule, blah blah blah. But I never look at like the defense, who's the defense playing with the offense, kind of thing. So it's like like
the matchups are different too.
Exactly. I was like, I'm from Chicago, so like I'm looking like, all right, who's playing Chicago, because those our quarterback is going to get annihilated by defensive linemen and linebackers with that weak O-line. So I'm looking for weak O-line teams, stuff like that, which I didn't really do that at that point. Then where I'm like, now I'm like, oh, that's another thing I need to add on to like what I need to look at.
Last year was you would start everybody against the Eagles. Their lines. Like, it don't matter. Like, and you would pick up a lineman or a linebacker, and you would start them against the Eagles because that line was just non-existent. But no, it's funny that you say that, because I remember your very first IDP, and you were the first one, and I remember you took TJ Watt in the 4th round, which was we kind of predicted he was going to be the first guy. We just didn't think he was going to go that early. But if you're going to get someone, it's got to be him, because he has that dual eligibility of linebacker, D lineman, which is really cool. You could put him as DL and then put in a secondary linebacker. I don't know, Darius Leonard, which probably not really possible, but let's put someone like a rookie in there, and then your flex. You could almost run like 3 linebackers at a time, which that's secret if they have a DL LB. So. But yeah, I remember it was pretty interesting watching how people draft. It changes your draft aspect, because sometimes if you go all offense and then you forget about your defense sucks. And Casey, you do Dynasty, right?
So no, I actually don't. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get in the league.
Okay.
I'm in a couple redrafts every year, so haven't been able to get in a Dynasty one, but just redraft so far.
So does your redraft do defense?
No.
I know some teams, they just take about. Okay, so you just nothing but offense. What about kickers?
Kicker. Well, one of them does defense. One of them has kicker defense, and then all the other offensive positions. So, it's not much of a worry. I mean, no one really drafts one till the end of the draft, kicker and defense wise.
Right, as everyone should.
Yeah.
Unless you're like unless you're in love with freaking Koo from Falcons.
I was gonna say Koo. I picked him up last year, and it just yep. I mean,
everyone loves him, man. He's automatic, dude.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times someone would just like rave about him, like, oh, he just saved my week. I'm like, yeah, like me as a Falcons fan, like every week last year.
But picked him off of waivers, and it was like the best move I did all year. Pick a kicker.
Lucky. I'm surprised he was available. But no, I'm the whole defensive things. It changes it. So, I just love how it gets you focused on both offense and your defensive side. I mean, if you haven't tried it, try it. It just like try it with one position 1 year. Like bring it up to your commission. Hey, you want to do linebackers? I know it's going to sound weird, especially with you guys not having any defenses. It changes the outlook on how you view not only just the offensive side of the ball, but I'm telling you, I get excited for sacks and interceptions, and then the yards on top of it. It is so exciting. Like, oh, dude, that was my guy. Like, I just got 6 points right there. Like, it was just a simple sack, and then the yard sack on it. So, I mean, if a guy gets a 20-yard sack, it's game over, dude.
Yeah.
That's like easy 10 points right there.
With a fumble.
Yeah,
Oh my
and then
God,
a fumble, another like so. Say it was like a 20-yard sack with the fumble and run to touchdown, and potentially the sack, the fumble, another 2 points, 20 yards. I don't know. Like you could easily break another 18 points right
Yeah,
there,
you just won your week.
and it was just off of one
Yeah.
guy. So
one play,
one play.
one guy.
yeah, I actually basically won last season. And I think I've mentioned this before multiple times with Jeremy Chin, his 2 fumbles last season against the Vikings. Yeah, easy win. Jeremy Chin alone just won me that week. He scored just as much points as my QB did. He had like 27 something points, and I was like, dude, basically super flex the guy. Yeah, but I mean it's a very interesting strategy. I know I might eventually have another league starting up probably next season. So I know you mentioned you wanted to dab into that, stick your toes into the water and see. Come
Would
to the
love
dark
to.
side. So
Yeah.
if
you have an
if I could-
opening, let me know.
yeah, for sure. I'll see what I do. I know I'll probably do one next season, but I'm in like way too many leagues that I gotta chop some up, man.
Yeah.
So
I've been there
Especially
too.
with,
It's
like Dynasty. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I was saying, like, add your normal redraft plus Dynasty, it's like that's a lot.
yeah. But I mean, the thing is, I can't deny the money at the end of the year. Like like I'm pretty good at. I'm not gonna say I'm the best, okay, but I do pretty good. So I've done it for 18 years. I started really young, so I was like 12 years old when I first started, fantasy football. So, how many years you guys have?
Oh man, let's see here, do math.
I maybe got like 10 years.
Okay, it's not bad. I mean, you have a decade under your belt.
Oh shit, it's about my 13th, 14th year doing it. Yeah, I started about like 2007 ish, maybe.
Okay,
around there. So
all right.
Yeah, actually, the guy who got me into fantasy football is Alfredo, which is on the Nerd Huddle. So he when we worked together at our warehouse place, he got me into. He goes, come play. So it was just a work thing with all my work buddies. My first year, I got second place. My second year, I got first place. It was just like dominating, and like some of these guys were like really like good into sports, and I'm like, they're overthinking a lot of the stuff, where I was like, some things are just easy, and they were like, well, he might not have a good week. I'm like, it's Brett Favre, he's gonna have a good week, put him in. It's like you don't have to think about that, but it's just that we always make fun of Fredo with his like crazy things.
It's funny
he's the one that got me in. Yeah, he's the one that got me in.
In that aspect, I think the teacher or the student became the master on that one. Because you clown on Fredo all the time.
We all mess with Fredo.
I did like a mock. Don't do as I say, not as I do kind of draft. Like Mark was doing what he did, but I was drafting horrible, but on purpose, like what not to do. And it's in one of the episodes earlier in the year. I think I did it in like June or something. Yeah. And I remember Tank commented on there. He goes, "This is funny because this is exactly what Fredo would do in his draft." I was like, well, damn. Like drafting QBs in your first round and like getting Gronk a kicker
in your first round,
your fifth or sixth round. Like, dude, like things you shouldn't do. Getting people on the same bye weeks. It just like those are the things, and I know bye weeks is something that we kind of like all kind of done before. I've done it multiple times. I draft my team and then I look at the bye weeks and I'm just like, crap, I have 8 weeks to figure this out. But
I don't know, we always bust his balls, but he somehow, man, he wins. Like he does some good trades and some good pickups. I'll give him that. Like during the season, knowing who's gonna explode, who's gonna have good weeks in certain games, he's really good at figuring that out. So I'll give Fredo that a lot. His draft is usually trash, but his season pickups is usually really good. One of the better ones. Yeah. So So it was like, if you fix that draft. So at one year he had a really good draft, and we were all making fun of him that like, oh, it wasn't him, it was his wife that drafted for him, because she drafts really well. So yeah,
man.
But yeah, man, that was just a little bit of that. But real quick, I know you're talking about Mika Parsons. I'm on Fantasy Pros, and he's ranked 27th. He's in the 5th tier of linebackers, and he went up 8 positions. So he was like top tier 6, and now he's like top tier 5.
Dude, he's doing good, man. He's all
he's
over
really,
the place.
He's really moving up. One thing that kind of got me is the top 3 is Leonard, White, and then Roquan Smith.
Yeah,
Chicago.
dude, come on.
And I was
that guy's a beast.
Yeah, he is, and he's gonna have a killer year. But I also I think because he's gonna have a killer year, I think Mac is gonna have a really good year. But Mac is all the way down in tier 6. I think so. I think
he didn't do that hot though.
No, but it reminds me of like the Brian Urlacher days when Brian Urlacher had the 2 guys next to him that were really well. Brian Urlacher was able to do crazy things. As soon as they left, he wasn't able to do a lot of that stuff. So it's also like, if you have 2 good linebackers, that's almost like game over, because they're both going to do well, because they're both able to like cover for each other and let the other one have a fun day kind of thing. But if you just have one shutdown linebacker, they're kind of need to be everywhere at once rather than just always attacking the ball. So that's like we were saying with Watt, like with 3 seasons in a row, he got like 14 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude. So he's like one of those guys that just is able to like has the freedom to go have fun.
Yeah.
Go get the ball.
There's one guy in my league. He likes to he stacks them. He puts the same guys from the same team. He has Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, and they're on the same team, and they're like right there, and they're both good. Yeah. So he would start one in the flex and one in the LB position, and then no matter what, Seattle was on defense a lot last season, so his defensive guys were just racking points, man. It was like, dude, come on, man. Yeah. All right, Wagner's monster. Yeah. So we're heading towards a 45 minutes here soon. So
oh dang.
Yeah. So we're talking about running backs, and I know mentioned what sleeper running back, and it could even be one of these guys in the committees. What running back do you think that 2 of them that you feel like you should probably definitely grab in the later rounds?
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll let you guys think about that while I kind of say my 2. But I think, considering everything, I know we mentioned some of these guys like Baltimore and the Jets and stuff like that, but they are part of the committees. But my 2 running backs that I'll try to leave my draft with is Gus Edwards and AJ Dillon. I know those guys are probably going to be, they're not thought of the number 1s, but I know that I'll probably try and get in the later rounds as potentially as my RB3, put them in the flex. But those are the 2 guys I'm kind of gunning for. I think I for sure will probably produce as the number 1s. And if their 1s go down, then guess what, man? They're up. Like if J.K. Dobbins or Aaron Jones go down, these guys are elite players. They're great athletes, man. They were producing numbers last season. I know AJ Dillon didn't do so much, but in that snow game, I can't remember which team it was, but it was legit. Like snow was everywhere, and AJ Dillon ran for like 100 and something yards with like 2 touchdowns. Like it was a really good game. He couldn't even get the Lambeau leap for his first time. They had to have him up. He's so big. I mean, he's 250 pounds at 6'1" or something. He's huge.
Yeah.
So, but those are the 2 guys I'm definitely gonna leave. Try to gun for at least in one of my drafts, hopefully in this redraft league season coming up. Who do you guys try?
Do you wanna go first, Casey? Or you want me to go first?
Go for it. I'm gonna have to take off a little earlier after I go. So
okay,
lead the way.
I'll go real quick. So like obviously I don't know if this is a homer pick or not, but I think Damien Williams is gonna have a good season. I'm gonna pick him more up as my RB3. Maybe because he's not going to start right away, but I think Montgomery's going to get hurt. And when Montgomery gets hurt, I think Cohen is not as good as people kind of think he is or remember him being. Damien Williams is good. And I think once he gets the ball like consistently, I think he's going to legit be an RB2 in Chicago. And then if Montgomery goes down, he's going to be your RB1, I think. So like Williams is somebody I might pick up and ride on the bench for a little bit until they figure out, he's the guy. But I know Martin's not going to like this one, but honestly, Mike Davis, I think is going to be a pretty good running back. I think he's old. He's old, but last year he did well. Yeah, I know exactly. But last year he stepped up for CMC. Obviously, he's nowhere near as good as CMC, but he was able to enough. Like I felt
he
like
got the job done.
He got the job done, and fantasy wise, he got a decent amount of points. I mean, he wasn't like Kamara with 6 touchdowns and 50-point game, but he was always consistent,
Crazy
which is
miracle.
what I always love in my running backs. I want like running backs that I know they're going to score X amount of points, so I know where to put them. And I think Mike Davis, if he continues what he did last year, I think he could be equal, if not a little bit better than he was last year. But
yeah,
and also
a lot of people are sleeping on him too.
But, yeah, he's down. He's on like tier 4 in Fantasy Pros, like the 23rd ranks. Running back.
Yeah.
But even freaking Damien Williams is in tier 7. He's ranked 56 out of running backs.
Sheesh.
Which is
That's
insane.
crazy. That's crazy.
He's one above Sony Michel, which is funny. So, but
all right, Case.
Those are 2 guys.
Actually, I have 4 for you.
Go for it, man. If you want to go for it, go for it.
A couple of them are piggyback though too. So Gus Edwards, of course. I feel like if I can grab him, gotta have it. Phillip Lindsey, as I already talked about. If I'm snagging him towards the end of the draft, I'm gonna be happy. I don't know how you guys feel about this one, but Devin Singletary.
Ooh, yeah.
He's actually doing
like him.
pretty good in this preseason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what he needed, but he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's not one I'm ecstatic about, but if I have him on my roster, I'm going to feel pretty solid. Just having more depth and the potential for more of a breakout and leading the way is the one. And then my 4th one I've got is Alexander Madison.
Okay.
Maybe snagging him later too. I don't know if Cook goes down or he gets some more reps this year, but he's been a maniac. He's my Boise boy. If I can get him again this year too,
I don't know how I feel about him though. He had his chance a few times, and in those chances he didn't do anything. And one of them was against the crap defense Falcons.
Yep.
He didn't even do anything. I like, dude. I mean, I didn't have him, but I noticed that the disappointment in people's faces when he did absolutely nothing. I don't know about that one. I'll probably disagree with you on that one, but the other one's okay. All right.
Okay.
Maybe, well, except for Phillip Lindsey, but
yeah, I was gonna say you like Phillip Lindsey.
I mentioned that earlier, but yeah. Okay.
Real quick, Matt. You said Alexander Madison from
the Vikings.
Yeah. He's ranked 50 top running backs in that tier 6 towards the bottom of it.
Hey, man, that's status, man.
Yeah.
I'll take the other 3 before I take Madison, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to see how far down he falls too, because Phillip Lindsey, I think I can definitely snag late. I don't know how late Madison's going to go, but I don't know. Food for thought.
All right, well, we're coming up to the end of the show. So, Casey, tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you do and what you're trying to do there.
So I've been breaking into the podcast industry lately as well. I'm not on video yet. It's only audio, but we're on Spotify, not quite Apple Music, but a couple other audio sources. But yeah, really just keeping relevant with what's current sports news and what's going on, whether as of late the NBA draft, NFL fantasy we're going to be gearing up for, and talking a lot about baseball, October coming up. So yeah, I mean, college, professional, anything. It's more of a current sports podcast. Just keeping our listeners up to date with everything. But yeah, just really enjoy it. We're on Spotify right now, so been going the last few months and been enjoying it a lot.
All right.
Yeah, I was listening to the one where you guys were talking about was one of your newer ones about the like baseball stuff, like all the baseball trades when the Cubs just sold everything in the kitchen sink. You know, I heard you guys talking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
You told me about
that was a tough one to do as a Cubs fan, but
yeah. So I was listening to that one a few days ago. You know, but yeah, that was it's good stuff, man. I like you and yours. The only thing is like you always have your guest on, and you guys have good like banter. Like at least on that episode, I know for sure you guys were like really having fun with it.
I mix it up, try and bring some good buddies on, and keep it fun. Have a good night. But yeah, been enjoying it. So if y'all want to check me out, I'm on Spotify.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put the link in the description.
Awesome, I appreciate that.
Make sure we'll get that going.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
We'll have to get reminded on that one. So hit me on that.
we'll get it done.
Awesome.
All right. Well, so that is basically it for. I mean, we did a little bit of running backs and hit a little linebackers there. Not too much on it, but I know as the season starts, I know we're in that transition of dynasty drafts to redrafts. It's that time. Season's pretty much around the corner, so. Pretty much already know who we're going to gun for and what we're going to get. So we are part of the Nerd Huddle Network, and today we actually did the Dynasty Pylon. So tomorrow, Tank, what do you got in store tomorrow?
I think we're going to do some trending stuff. We're going to do the Spider-Man trailer because, you know, we lost our minds with that. Me, Brian, and Will. So Spider-Man trailer, CM Punk coming back to wrestling. That's kind of massive news right now. Yeah.
How old is he, man?
He's old. and I'll probably talk about like What If, the new Disney Plus Marvel What If stuff. The new episode came out today. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Yeah. So far, those shows are.
Yeah, really.
Know what they're doing, man. They know what they're doing. So yeah, we're gonna talk about all that stuff.
All right, and then Tuesday, which you have a Chicago Bears show, is a Pan and Grizzly show. Look, man. If you want to laugh, go see them. They are the fun. Like Marvin alone is just hilarious. Yesterday's episode, I messed with him a little bit, but he's a good guy. But all Bears. They're from Chicago. But it's a really good show. It's funny. Like they have their Fat Man segment, and they just go to town. So, but yeah. So that's it. Sunday, Casey, if you want to join us Sunday morning, I know for you and I it's going to be a little earlier than these guys in Chicago, but for me it's what are we changing the time to 10 o'clock your time now?
We're doing 10 Central, which I believe is like 8
for us.
Time.
Maybe 7 for Casey coming up. So
oh shoot.
Yeah, so I mean it's up to you. Mark does not join us during those times. He's a bat. He just does not wake up during that time. So but yeah, that's our schedule coming up. We take questions and start sits for here on out. I mean, we'll be taking start sits here coming up Wednesdays, week 1, week 2. But if you're watching now, dude, week 1, just set your lineups, man. You never know what's going to happen. Draft them at their ranks, leave them where they're at, and then configure after week 1. And also, don't spend all your fab on the first waiver guy because sometimes they don't hit. Sammy Watkins, Naeem Hines, sometimes they don't hit. So, but I mean, that's it for the show. Casey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
And of course, Tanks, you're always here. You're always watching. You're always jumping in. Yeah. So that's our producer, man. He's the guy. So, anyways. Next week we're going to talk about DBs and Mark. Yeah, he's at work right now. His boss, man. I want to slap him so hard, dude. So anyways, thanks for watching. Next week we're doing receivers and maybe a little bit of tight ends, and then we're definitely doing the DBs, kind of like what we did with running backs and linebackers today. So kind of like that stack secret kind of thing. So good morning, good evening, good night, wherever the heck you guys are at. Thanks for joining us this Dynasty Pylon. I'll see you guys next week.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. When I watch me elevate.